Excuse me. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's Small Business Boot Camp. I'm Robert Theobald, Small Business Ombudsman and Vice President of Small Business Services, and your host for today. We'd like everybody to go to the chat, open up your chat, and post in the chat where you are tuning in from. We like to see from throughout the state and sometimes beyond the state where we have people from. So I see we got Missy from Tucson, Marilyn from Prescott. All right, we got Tempe, Phoenix, Scottsdale. Excellent. I'm sitting in Phoenix. Well, we're glad to have all of you with us for today's session. Got someone from Mesa. So thank you again. As we like to do, we like to start by thanking all our community partners. This is just a sample list of some of our community partners. We could not do these webinars without them, their time, their effort, their expertise. They willingly give back their time to help small businesses, and we're very grateful for that. If you're new to the Small Business Boot Camp, we like to share that the boot camp is designed to help small businesses prepare, plan, and grow. And it is not just the Tuesday morning workshop or webinar that we do, but we also do other workshops, virtual webinars, virtual lunch and learns, virtual workshops, a lot of other things besides just the Tuesday morning. And it's not just the Tuesday morning, a lot of effort goes into the Tuesday morning. But we have other sessions as part of this to help support small businesses. Now, one of the great things is we know that people can't always make it at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. And so we record all of our virtual sessions and we post them in the content library. You can find the content library at the bottom of the boot camp homepage. And in there, you'll find all of our recorded webinars, workshops, lunch and learns that we've done since the beginning. And you'll find over 350, about 360 recorded sessions there that you can watch the video, you can download the slide deck and other materials that our presenters wanted to share with the group. So it is a great resource available to all of you. There's no cost to access it. Again, it's at the bottom of the Bootcamp webpage. The ACA also has a number of other programs to support small business throughout the state. This is just a sample of them. You can find all the programs at acecommerce.com/programs. One of the programs we like to talk about is the Small Business Checklist. This is an online interactive tool that can help entrepreneurs that are looking to start a business or expand their business into other areas and cities understand the commonly requested licensing, registration, and compliance requirements at the local, state, and federal levels. It's a great resource for other information as well. It is very in-depth. We have two parts to the checklist. If you scan that QR code, it'll take you to it. We have the main checklist webpage that has well over 200 different pages within it that has the information for your business, for the city you'll be in, etc. And then we have our virtual assistant, Sally, and you can chat with Sally to try to find the answers as well. And so you can use both of those to help identify those questions you may have regarding your business. Now, look at some of our upcoming sessions. We've got a great lineup into December, and we take part of December off, but we're definitely through December 10th. And great sessions. We hope you can join us for all of those. And then we also have a lunch and learn coming up on this Thursday at noon with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. They're going to be on to talk about trademark essentials. So if you have a brand that you're developing and building, or there's something in your business you want to trademark, this is definitely a session you should attend. We will record it as well, and it will be in the content library if you can't make it at noon. But again, it is a virtual lunch and learn. So feel free to bring your lunch and sit down and enjoy lunch while listening to the USPTO share this key information on trademarks. So with that, we're going to jump into today's session. We have a returning presenter, Marilyn Mott. She's the Director of Community Outreach with the Better Business Bureau, and she is going to be sharing a great presentation on customer service today. So we're excited to have her with us. And Marilyn, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let you share yours. And one of the things we do request is if you have questions at the bottom of your screen, you have the option for Q&A. Please post questions in the Q&A, and then we can use the chat for some interaction, and that way your questions don't get lost, because we want to answer those questions you may have. So Marilyn, it is all yours.
All right. Thank you so much, Robert. I appreciate that. Thank you, Faith, for having me today. Welcome, everyone. We are going to talk today a little bit about, is the customer always right? So I'm interested to know your response to that question. How do you feel about that question? Do you feel like the customer is always right? I have to admit, oops, excuse me. Sorry, I was trying to get there we go. I do believe that there is no actual correct answer to that question. It can be a tough one, but I would say that most of the time when you're dealing with customer service, your first thought is absolutely exactly as everyone's saying in the chat, no. The customer is not right. That being said, there are definitely responsibilities that customers have to themselves to be able to ask certain questions and learn a little bit about whatever product or service they're getting ready to purchase. And that's something that at Better Business Bureau, I get the opportunity to talk to customers about. But I also get the opportunity to speak with businesses and talk about what we're going to talk about today, which is how do you tackle some of those tough customers? So, we're going to talk today about what your customers are looking for, the 8 standards of trust that Better Business Bureau uses. And I would say a lot of good businesses out there, ethical businesses, use these standards to just maintain a good relationship between themselves and their customers. We're going to talk about how to prevent issues, how to tackle just those tough customers that sometimes come into your office or that you deal with, even if you don't have a brick and mortar. Sometimes tough customers are, as we know, online. So we are going to talk about customer reviews, and then we're also going to talk about recognizing when you need help. These are the 8 standards of trust that we set up. The Better Business Bureau has been around for over 100 years, trying to help businesses be better and looking at things like this and just saying, okay, are you as a business honoring the promises that you're making? Are you being responsive to the customers? Are you advertising honestly? Are you making sure that if they are providing private information to you, that you're doing your best to safeguard that private information? So this is a copy of the 8 standards, which you can find at bbb.org anytime you want. There is no cost for you to gain information, just like when you go to the ACA, they have amazing classes, as Robert was just sharing, and things that are available. There's so much out there to help small businesses succeed. And so hopefully you guys are aware of that now and then able to share that with people that come into your life. So today, we're going to talk about what do your customers want? According to Forbes.com, consumer behavior trends show that these are the top things that people are looking for. So they want a trustworthy business, someone that they feel like they can lean on. Circular buying relationships. It used to be a little bit more straightforward. Now it's a little bit more involved because your customer has the ability to go online and talk about you. And a lot of businesses find that this is a very positive thing because we like to build those positive reviews. But every once in a while, you get that one person that just lambasts you online and says things that are not true, didn't give you a fair shot, things like that. So how can we create good circular buying relationships? Consumers are wanting to feel like they're a part of your family or your business family that you're building. And so they like to get to know you a little bit better. They like to know, how does your business give back in the community? What do you do to support? So we'll talk a little bit about that. They're also looking for easy online purchase options. So if you are providing a service to your customers, no matter what that service may be, even if you are in a trade category, which would be a little bit less likely to obviously have retail online, you are still needing to provide for your customers an easy way for them to access you online. So, an easy way for them to potentially find out if they could get a quote from you, and maybe an easy way for them to find out when you're next available. So, it can be really great to do that. And there's so many great tools out there now, like Canva and things like that, where you can actually get a calendar and send that to your customer and provide the times that you're available to meet with them, provide the times that you're available to talk to them. So there's a lot of different tools out there, and I know that that the Arizona Commerce Authority also does great classes on AI. So I know that that is also available, and that you can find out a little bit more about that if you are questioning that or maybe not as familiar. If you do have a brick and mortar, they want a special in-store experience. So my husband and I own a small CBD store here in the area. And I will admit, one of our big things that we do is we have a sign in the window that says free hugs. We live in a community where it's a smaller community and people like hugs. What can I say? So when people come in, if that's the experience they want, we like to give that to them. If they have a pet with them and they're coming in for pet CBD, we ask them for a picture of their pet to hang on our pet wall. We provide water, we have treats, we have different things that we are doing to try to create a more special experience for that person so that they feel more connected to the business. They want loyalty from the business, they want convenience. We all want convenience and transparency. So just being upfront about issues if you have issues going on. There are times where we don't have a product in stock and we will let our customers know, hey, we don't have this in stock. It's coming on this date. We can call you, we'll deliver it to you. We will make sure you get it. We can ship it to you for free. So just little things like that that you can do to make it the best experience possible. And these are the top 5 things that affect your customer loyalty. Obviously, number 1, customer service. There's a reason why I teach this class an awful lot or talk about it with people. They just reach out and say, hey, can you give me some pointers on this? I'm dealing with a really tough customer. How do you think I should respond to this complaint? How do you think I should respond to this customer review? Those kind of things. Reward programs are really big. So if you have the ability to be able to offer some type of a reward, do it. And it does not have to be online. It can be, as number 3 says, coupons. Everyone gets those mailers, envelopes. You may not like them. You may throw them in the trash. You may file 13 those right away. Not a big deal. That being said, your customer does like to see that you're making an effort to make their life easier by providing a service at maybe a lesser cost or giving them some kind of a deal. People like to feel like they're getting a good deal. And if you're upfront about it, then that can be a great way to help retain customers and get those customers coming back. Because we all know retention is definitely key to a successful business. Environmental impact, that's a big one that customers are looking at now. So they kind of want to know, are you doing your best to leave as little a carbon footprint as possible? Do you even have as simple as an option like we do where we can email you the receipt versus just printing out a paper receipt? Sometimes that's the case. We have several customers who, once they use the bags that we give them, the paper bags, they return those paper bags. If you return those paper bags, we are going to give you more of a discount when you make your next purchase. So just little things like that that you can do. And then alignment with personal values. So they like to know that they are connected to you. Customers, I know I like to feel connected. I like to go, everyone likes that cheers moment when you, and I'm totally dating myself now, but when you walk into the bar and everyone shouts your name, that kind of a feeling. So whether it's online or whether it's in person, you can still create that type of a feeling where you feel connected to a person. You feel like you're able to understand them and know them better. And it may be a false sense of that because you don't know your customers the same way that you know your family or your friends. It doesn't matter. Just making them feel welcome is a big deal. Okay. So, how many people in the chat have dealt with a difficult customer? And I would say, how many have you dealt with in, say, the last month? And I'm going to put in the number that I dealt with, 3. I've had 3 really tough customers in the last month. And it was just some returns that were coming in. And then I had a gentleman who was not very happy with the Better Business Bureau. And I had to explain a little bit more about what we do. Okay, so you all have experienced these tough customers. And so, what we're going to talk about today is how prevention, just like anything in life, well, that's awesome, Dan, that you have had none. That's a beautiful thing. Hold on to that because they will come, but that's okay. We will be able to hopefully avoid most of those issues by preventative maintenance, as I call it. The same way that you would do that with your car, with your body, everything in life that you hold near and dear. The clock is ticking. Yes, it's so true. I mean, it's unfortunate, but there are just going to be some people you cannot please. And I will admit, when I teach the class live, we talk about who here has been the difficult customer? Because at some point in time in our life, we've all been having a tough day. Maybe we've been going through a life change. We lost someone, there was a divorce, your child is sick, things like that. And so we're not always at our best. And so if we can remember those moments, it can make it a little bit easier for us to connect with the customer that we're dealing with that's difficult and find out if there's a way that we can make that connection. Once you can make that human connection, it's much easier to resolve the issues. So if you can provide multiple points of contact for your customer, so whether it is through a website, I know a lot of small businesses we don't. I mean, I don't utilize we have a corporate website for the franchise that we're a part of, but we utilize Facebook, we utilize Instagram. Those are probably our 2 big go-tos right now. I know people who use TikTok very frequently, but if you provide an email, if you provide a phone number or a text, a way for them to get in touch with you quickly and easily, that's key. Make sure that you are providing auto replies if you have that ability. So I use the Google system. I have a Gmail account. I use that for both Better Business Bureau and for our shop. And so I will admit it, they make it very easily because they have what they call canned responses or auto replies. So if you know, like last week, I was on the road for Better Business Bureau from Tuesday through Friday. So I was traveling for work. I was not going to be available. So I made sure that anyone who emailed me got an automatic reply letting them know I'm going to be slow to reply. Absolutely, I'm still at work, but I am going to be slow to reply. So just kind of letting people know on the front end, hey, it's going to take me this long. And it's okay if it's 48 hours, if it's 72 hours, if it's 24, whatever you set as your marker, try to stick to that as much as possible, and people will really appreciate that. It's so funny when we always tell people, I'm like, I'm on the road a lot for my job. Leave me a message, I will get back to you. And when I call them, I would say half of the time they're kind of shocked that I actually get back to them. And that's sad in a way, but it's also nice. So it gives you already a leg up because you can just be responsive. And right there, you're doing more than a lot of people out there. Use a contract, invoice, website, or receipt, something that communicates your policies concisely and clearly. And so make sure that you're providing that and review it with the customer prior to having them sign anything. I say this because I've worked with, when I first started at Better Business Bureau, I was doing dispute resolution, and I worked with an industry, the moving industry, and it was very hard for a lot of these movers because people will lie, just like we do when we go to the doctor or the dentist. Sure, um, I floss every day, twice a day. I mean, like those kind of things. People just they don't get it. So I would have movers coming to me saying they're really upset because we gave them this quote. It was not a fixed quote. It was a quote that could potentially change or fluctuate. We were honest with them about that. And when we got to their house, they had 4 big steps up to their front door. Well, 4 big steps, and they were told, no, there's no stairs. We don't, because it wasn't a two-story house. It was just a one-story house. But those four big steps, that makes a difference when you're moving, a big, huge antique armoire, or let's say a piano, for example, which is what this gentleman was dealing with. Those four steps, that's a big difference. And so that changed the way that they had to wrap the furniture and the way that they had to move the furniture. And so just having an area, whether it be on your website or if it's on your Facebook page, wherever you put it, communicate clearly what your policies are. Be honest about timelines. And if something comes up, try to let your customer know that you're aware and you're working to resolve the issue. That's where those auto replies can really come in handy, because maybe you have a larger customer base and you do not have time, but it's easy to change a website page. It's easy to say, hey, we're working on this. It's much easier to say on your phone message, hey, just so you know, we're aware that this is a problem. I mean, this is something that a lot of businesses in Florida, obviously, and North Carolina had to recently go through with the weather issues that they were having. They weren't able to be open, they weren't able to be safely at work. So, how did they keep their customers happy and engaged? You just communicate with them. Be proactive. When you know you have an unhappy client, reach out, acknowledge it, and it can be so scary. At least for me, it's you just don't know how they're going to react, and so that can be tough. But sometimes just taking the bull by the horns is the best thing to do, and being proactive can really show that you have initiative, and it can make it a little bit easier when you come to the customer and say, hey, look, I'm coming to you and I'm being honest with you. I can tell that something has upset you, because most of the time we're aware when someone is in front of us and they're not quite happy. They've done a lot of things, and I'm sure that there are classes out there that talk about body language and, heavy sighs, or, just sometimes the way that people react to you. If that helps you up your game as a business owner or as a manager, then I would say take it. Anything that can help you become a little bit more aware of stuff like that is a good thing in your business. And then the best thing that you can do to prevent is to keep good documentation. And I will admit, I deal with this all the time. I work for the Better Business Bureau and I'm not perfect. There are times where I'm in a hurry and I don't read documentation. And then there's other times where I'm really smart about it and I go to purchase a car and I tell the gentleman, I'm going to be here a while, because man, that paperwork is crazy. But I also am glad that I went through it, because there were several things in that agreement that I didn't want to pay for. I didn't really care about certain tint on the windows. I didn't really care about paying for the special primer that they put on the paint coat to keep your paint better. I live in Arizona. I drive a lot. It's an older car. I was not interested in paying an extra $2,000 for that. So I asked them to remove it from the contract. So just things like that, where if you keep good documentation, then you can go back to the consumer and say, actually, we did talk about this. We did go over this, and you put your initials right here. You signed right here. Now, this can be very tricky when you're online, because when you're online and you're running, I don't know how many of you are running an online business, or if any of you are, but there's a lot of rules, and there's a lot of rules that are coming out now. The FTC just recently had a new one that is currently being battled over. So we'll see how that all plays out. But those are the kind of things to pay attention to, because when you're online, I think that we've all heard the stories of the online vitamins or the online supplements or the online, I'm going to take this, 40 something face and make it look 20, those kind of things, and buy this product. And before you know it, you're getting money taken out of your account every month, and you didn't sign up maybe for a subscription. We have since learned that obviously you have to make it available for people to give a one time, or people to sign up for a one time um, subscription. They have to be able to purchase once or get a subscription. So you've got to make it clear up front, things like that. So just being upfront up as possible with your customer and keeping good documentation for yourself. If you are in the trades, try to make sure that your receipt, your invoice, something has good documentation. When we did the moving company, and then I also worked with HVAC companies, we made sure that we went over insurance. Insurance for moving is very, very important. And so just being aware of how you can protect yourself as a business, because we want to see businesses We want to see you succeed. And so the best way to succeed is to know what your rights are as a business and how to portray that to your customers, how to make sure that they know. Okay. So tackling tough customers. Most of us on the call have had them. Dan, we know it's coming, but hopefully this will help you just be able to deal with that a little bit better. Assume that the customer has a right to be upset. So this is one of the best things that you can do to help calm you also, because let's face it, our businesses are our babies, and we have nurtured them, and we have done everything that we can. We've put our all into them. Or maybe for me, it's like my career at Better Business Bureau. I've been here for 13 years, and I love working with businesses, and I want to make sure that any customer that I'm working with thinks as highly as possible of the Better Business Bureau and what we do. And so when they come to me upset, I need to take a step back, know that it's not a personal attack. Most of the time, it's not a personal attack. Every once in a while, you are going to get that, but for the most part, it's just going to be a customer who's upset. So if you assume that they have the right to be upset, and if you listen to their emotion without involving your emotion, and that's why I said there are some classes out there that are really wonderful that can help you learn how to deal with this if this is a hard thing for you. One of the movers that I worked with, he's like, "I'm Italian. I get emotional." And he was, I mean, I talk with my hands a lot too, so I can't speak to that, um but he was emotional. This was his baby. He inherited the business from his dad. So when he had someone say that his guys didn't do a good job, and they had accused his gentleman of doing things on the job that were inappropriate, basically they were quote unquote moving while having a party, and he had obviously proof that this was not the case. So anyways, it all worked out for the best. But listening to their emotion without involving your emotion can be tricky, but it's very important to do. Make sure that you're patient as much as possible. And to be patient, speaking slowly can truly help. So just kind of slowing down can make it a little bit easier for you and that customer. I have discovered that yelling back at the customer who's yelling never works. So just so you know, it doesn't ever work. I have, yeah, in the time that I have been doing this, that's never been successful. If it ever is, I would love to know, but so far I have never had that be successful. I would also say number 5 is really important. Reiterate what you believe you heard. And believe is the key word, because we all have different ways of listening. And if you've ever been in any kind of relationship or talked to your child or maybe talked to a student or to a customer, you will sometimes know that sometimes what you thought you heard was the issue isn't actually the issue. So just really reiterate. So what you're saying is you're upset about A, B, C, whatever it is. And sometimes it's all three. But just state it back to them so that you can get clarification and let them know, look, I'm just wanting to clarify. I just want to make sure that I'm doing right by you and that we really can address this problem. And then if it really is a problem that you can address, that you can own the issue. Say, you know what, we messed up. I had an HVAC company that a lady was so upset at his crew because they dragged dirt and debris into her home when they were passing through her home to get to the wall mounted unit that adjusted her air conditioning. So they were fixing outside, then they came inside and they were fixing the wall mounted unit. And in the process, they dragged stuff into her home. So he owned the issue and he paid to have that cleaned. And he's like, it was so much better than having a negative review. And she was shocked when he offered. He's like, I know a person, when he contacted another business that he was familiar with, they came in next day, they got it taken care of. It was fine. And so just sometimes owning the issue and doing what you can quickly to resolve it can help you avoid getting that negative review. Put the customer first and the problem second. This is something that we should all remember, and it's so hard because we have these things, these lovely cell phones and computers, things that basically help us be a little bit more brave because we're not face to face. So if you are online or if you are dealing with a customer review or an email that's kind of nasty, just walk away. Give yourself a second to take a deep breath. But remember that you're dealing with a human, and it is easier to do that when you're standing right in front of someone. That is easier. So depending on the situation that you're dealing with will depend on what you need to do. But just trying to remember that you're talking to another human being, to another mother or father or brother or sister or whoever you're dealing with, making sure you're putting the customer first and the problem second. And then try to find the root issue to determine what happened, offer a solution. So sometimes that solution may take time, and that is okay. Once again, communicating that to the customer and saying, you know what, I need to think about how we can resolve this issue. Can I have a day? I promise I'll get back to you, and then get back to them. Respond, let them know. That's number 10, following up. Following up is so key. And I think even following up after the problem, I cannot tell you how many 5-star reviews we've been able to get just by following up because originally it started off as an issue. It started off as I need a refund. I'm upset at something that you did. I signed up for something and I felt like I didn't actually get a benefit from it. So I would like to cancel with the Better Business Bureau, things like that. So those are the kind of things that we want to follow up and find out where did we go wrong? What did we not provide so that we can do better next time? And then just leaving them with a better taste in their mouth is going to naturally be better for you as the business. Okay. So how to ask and when to ask for customer reviews. This can be kind of tricky, but when you have a happy customer standing in front of you. For me in my shop, it's usually because I've just given them a hug or they've told me a tearful story about a happy experience that they've had because this stuff has been working for them. For me at the Better Business Bureau, it's when I have a business who has said, hey, this last year's been great for me. I've grown so much. I've taken advantage of the different help that you've given me. I've gone to the Arizona Commerce Authority. I've gone to my Small Business Development Center. I've come to some of the classes that you've offered. I'm getting connected. I'm putting myself out there. I'm creating my network. And I'm not just creating my network, but I'm using that network. So when you have a happy customer standing in front of you, don't be afraid to ask and ask boldly and politely. So politely and without pressure, I would say do not hesitate to say 5-star review because we know that that 5-star is key for you keeping that grade as high as possible in the algorithms, whether it be for Trustpilot or Google or wherever they're at, Yelp, wherever they're at giving you a review. Make sure that you're asking boldly and politely and without pressure. And I would say make it as easy as possible, for them. So when you receive an email or a text from a customer thanking you, so if it happens in person, awesome. That's your cue right there. If it happens via email or text, I always respond to my emails at the BBB saying, thank you so much for letting me know that my assistant Sherry did a great job. Would you be willing to go online and give us a 5-star review? Here's the link. And I try to make it as easy as possible so they can just click on the link and say, hey, the Better Business Bureau helped me. I had an issue with blah, 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 blah. And I always tell them, even if you just say thank you, those 2 words, and give us a 5-star review, that's a beautiful thing. We'll take it. Explain how it can be helpful for you because it is true. There are people looking. So I'm looking online as a customer. I'm always looking. I hope all of you look online before you use a business, before you use another service, before you invest your hard earned money into something. I hope that you're doing your due diligence. So explaining to a customer how that helps build your business, it just makes them feel a little bit more part of that circular buying experience that we were talking about earlier. That ties it all in for them. They feel like they have contributed. And if they really love the product or the service, they're going to use it again and they're going to tell other people. And that's huge. So after you've helped a customer in any manner, whether it was answering a simple question or fixing an issue, and like I said earlier, just being brave and saying, hey, I know we had a problem earlier, but I was able to resolve this problem for you. Would you be willing to go and give a 5-star review and let people know, hey, I had an issue. They fixed it for me. I'm very grateful. Done. You don't have to write a book, they don't have to feel pressured to do that. But making it as easy as possible for them, walking them through the process, and then, like I said, offering to send them an email with the link, that can be very helpful. And then lastly today, before we go to questions, I just want to know, um, it's okay for you to recognize that you need help and know where to go. So you have a lot of resources that are at your fingertips. And so I have a couple of quotes here that I really like. It's crucial to understand nobody knows everything there is to know about starting or running a business, regardless of what the business is. And that's that gentleman, Marcus Lemonis, I watched it for a while, the show The Profit on TV. He would come in and help businesses that were just struggling or falling apart and try to help rebuild them. And I like seeing stuff like that happen. I like seeing small businesses succeed. I mean, it's crazy, but it's like 95% of our economy in our different communities is small business based. They provide so many jobs, they provide so much. I'm sure the Arizona Commerce Authority could speak to this more than I can, but it is true. They really are the heartbeat of our different communities. And even when you're in a large city, you still have your pockets that you belong to, that you go to. You have your favorite areas to go for restaurants, your favorite salon that you like to go to. You have the favorite person that you call every time you have a plumbing issue or an HVAC issue. Maybe you have your favorite little store that you love to go to every time someone comes into town. So the places that you think of going when your family comes to visit or when friends come to visit. So that's just being aware of that helps it be a little bit easier for you to want to protect your business and also want to support those local businesses. So, you as a business owner or you as a manager helping other customers out, recognizing that you don't know how to handle everything can be such a relief because you can just say, you know what, I don't know how to handle this, but I know people I can go to. And there's a whole list here. We will provide this to you. But you're on the call right now with Arizona Commerce Authority. You're on the call right now with us. There are places that you can go that are going to provide you assistance, that will provide you help. And then I love the why you should ask for help, just because it's an active service. There are people out there who have experience. There are people out there who have, Dan, who have dealt with that difficult customer and who kind of already could direct you or help you know where to go. And so just knowing that there's people out there who love and support you can be a huge help when you are struggling in your small business and you're not sure where to turn. So there's online tools available, but I know that we will provide all of these slides to you after. So if you have any questions or concerns about it, that is going to be available to you. We'll make that available to you today. And so that's there. But if does anyone have any? Oh, I wanted to touch briefly on BBB Empower program. It's an incubator that we have. If you are interested, you can just go to bbbempower.com and look for that. But I also am the Northern Arizona Kiva Hub Capital Access Manager. So if you are in Arizona and you're looking for a small micro loan, there are small micro loans out there, whether you're in the Phoenix area. We also offer Kiva through the city of Phoenix and the Better Business Bureau that I work for in the Phoenix area. So you can just go online to bbb.org and type in Kiva and search for that, and it will pop up for you. So if you are interested in learning a little bit more about that, you certainly can. Does anyone have any questions for me today or any concerns that you're currently working with that you'd like to address? I know Dan said his has not come in yet, but hopefully, Dan, you'll feel like a little bit more prepared if it does.
Yes, please post up in either the chat or in the Q&A if you have any questions. We got a little bit of time. We can ask Marilyn about some customer service questions you may have or situations you've dealt with that you want some feedback on. And while we're waiting for any questions, I'm glad, Marilyn, you mentioned the Kiva. Kiva is a great microloan program. It's available throughout the state.
Yeah.
Through different organizations that are covering it for northern and southern Arizona. Great micro lending product. Also, the Ignite program with the BBB is a great incubator for your small business if you're thinking of starting a small business, great place to look and get started with. Well, it doesn't look like we have any questions from our customers or from our attendees, sorry, about customers. So we will go ahead and wrap up and get it done a little bit. Oh, we have one question in the Q&A. It says, this hasn't happened to us, but if someone lies about your business online, what would you do?
Okay, that's a tough one. So I'm going to use a very personal example. We received our first 1-star review from a customer who came in, and he came in, he wasn't actually a purchasing customer, so he ended up getting a free sample of our product. And we are not allowed, as a CBD store, we have to be very careful what we sample out. So we do not sample out anything that has even trace amounts of THC. It's purely CBD. And so he wrote in on a review. So he got a free product to try. He did not buy anything from us. He left, seemed happy. We received a review the next day saying that he had gotten high off the product, which is not possible to get high off of something that doesn't have THC in it. And he also accused us of writing satanic books. Like it was just the weirdest. It took like a left curve, right curve, and went all over the place and basically just complete lies and mentioned someone who was the owner who wasn't even us. So it was very difficult to fight because it's a Google review. Google, they're not very responsive, and so it was tough. So we ended up reaching out to our other customers that we have that have given reviews. We reached out to our family, to our friends, and we asked them to go online and report it as offensive, because there is that ability to do that whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, Google, it doesn't matter. All of those sites allow you the ability to report it. Now, that review is still up, but it is no longer it's no longer the front facing review, so it's been buried under 60, 70 other 5-star reviews, so we're appreciative of that. So that would be my first recommendation, is build up those 5-star reviews, so when you get that 1 or 2 1-star, you have all of these other positive ones, because most people are going to look at that and go, well, wait a second, so many people have had a positive experience, only one person's had a negative experience. And then when you read the review, you will see my response, which I will admit, it took me a couple of days to respond because I was so angry and took it personally. This review, plus, of course, I took it personally. I'm like, I've never even written a book, let alone a book on anything like that. And so, thank you. Thank you for thinking that I'm qualified enough to write a book and to get it published. I appreciate that. So, no, so I wrote my fake response, and I would highly suggest that because it's just good for the soul, but don't put it anywhere other than paper where you can just tear it up or burn it and throw it away. So sometimes it's just good to get that out, because it is your business and it is something that you can be sensitive about. But I did respond, and I responded professionally and in a way that if anyone goes online and reads my response, they are going to know that this person was unfortunately telling lies online. So that's the best that you can do. If someone is telling a lie online, do your best to respond professionally and seek advice. Come to the ACA, come to us, go somewhere where you can bounce it off someone else and just get an idea for how to respond to that. It's hard. It stinks, but it does
Yeah,
happen. So
I've seen some responses from owners on posts, and the owner's response was worse than the complaint.
mhm.
And it's like, yeah, definitely not going there because the owner was so rude and
Yeah.
defensive and
Yeah. You want to see
and
how an owner if they're respectful to their customer.
yeah. Yeah, I like, especially on stuff, is just keeping it simple. Oh, sorry you had a problem.
Mhm.
Here, please reach out to me directly so we can get this resolved.
That's exactly what we did. We offered, I said, if you did purchase anything, we don't show anything on record that you made a purchase. We will 100% refund your money. Please come in. We would like to make this right. And of course, we've never heard back from the customer, but at least we did the best that we could
Yeah.
to try to respond. But yeah, it's okay to do those kind of responses, like Robert was saying. Just don't do them online. Don't post that. Just get that out. Let it be your personal cleansing, and then go and post your professional response.
Yeah. Excellent. Great question. Great response. Thank you. Don't see any other questions in there. So we'll go ahead and wrap up a little early. Thank you, Marilyn, for being with us today. We appreciate the presentation,
Thanks
appreciate
for
your
having
time.
me. Thank
We
you,
want to thank
Robert.
all of our participants for being with us, and we hope to see you again on Thursday for the lunch and learn if you can make it, and if not, next Tuesday for our next Small Business Boot Camp webinar. Until then, everybody have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Bye, all.
Bye.